think the next couple of years could be big for the middleweight division. I know everyone likes the welterweight division, the super welterweight or junior middleweight division, and a few other weight classes. However, if you take a look at the top 7 of the middleweight division, the matchups here could make it a big year in 2018 and an even bigger 2019 if they do it right. Now, this is boxing. It's boxing, Max. It's boxing. It's boxing, Max. But even if they do it halfway right, I think we could get some good stuff here. So it starts with the hopeful rematch between the number 1 and number 2 guy. So we have Gennady Triple G Golovkin versus Saul Canelo Alvarez. All right, G versus Nello. We think it's going to take place May 5th. We're told that it's close to being finalized. Ironically, there are 2 cards who, knowing this, they're already planned for that date. One in the UK with Tony Bellew versus David Haye, another rematch for you. And the other is Antonio Margarito versus Magomed Kurbanov. If both these cards take place the same night, they could steal quite a few pay-per-view views, as the UK fans, they'll come out for Haye and Bellew, and the Russians, as well as some loyal Mexicans, will also watch Margarito and Kurbanov. Now, from a sales perspective, and I don't mean the live gate, the matchup between Golovkin and Alvarez seems to be cursed a bit. If you remember, there were a few reasons that Golovkin versus Alvarez didn't go over 2 million pay-per-views in their first fight. I'll name 2 reasons. First, Hurricanes Harvey and Irma caused Texas, Tennessee, Florida, Georgia, Puerto Rico, the Carolinas, North and South, and other places to lose power. So, no power, no pay-per-view buys. The second reason is they slipped the McGregor fight in after Golovkin versus Alvarez was announced, and then they put it on a few weeks before. So after forking out $100 a pop, most fans weren't going to turn around and pay for Golovkin versus Alvarez a few weeks later. So you already know 2 fights are slated for that date. You know, you're going to keep waiting around, and someone is going to pull another pay-per-view move on them. And don't be surprised if it's the same guy who's going to have a fight in April or something, just to mess the game up. So anyway, that's a great rematch that needs to be made. If and when it gets done, I believe both guys will take more chances in the rematch. Don't be surprised if they both take those chances to the body. But let's move on. So those are the number 1 and number 2 guys in the middleweight division. So let's go from the bottom up. Now, if you didn't see the number 7 guy last year, check him out. He's Sergey Deverenchenko. Okay, he's 11-0 with 9 knockouts. what I'd like you to do is check out the last fight he had in August 2017 against the tough as nails Toriano Johnson. This fight was, this is just my opinion now, one of the most brutal beatings in 2017. Toriano took the kind of punishment that leaves a guy with slurred speech and damaged reflexes years later. My God. I mean, Sergey put it on him. He put it on him. Whether he comes back to accomplish something or not, trust me, Toriano won't be the same guy after that fight. I mean, yeah. Derevyanchenko put it on. I mean, sometimes it's better to just get knocked out. You get concussed or short-circuited or whatever the case may be. You get up and you come back after some time goes by. But I'm telling you, when you're just eating shot after shot, Toriano's not going to be the same guy. As a matter of fact, on that same card, if you can get a hold of it on DVD, or I'm sure they're both on YouTube, on that same card, the number 11 middleweight, guy named Hugo Centeno Jr. scored one of the best knockouts of 2017 when he aired Emmanuel Aleem out. He got him out of there with a left hook that pretty much got Aleem before Aleem's got him. That's basically it. He got to Aleem before Aleem got to him. And I'll see if I can leave a highlight of it below. And I mentioned the number 11 guy because Centeno Jr. is lined up to fight Jamal Charlo for what you call a bogus interim WBC belt. The belt isn't as important as the right to fight the winner of Golovkin versus Alvarez, which is the prize. So check out the number 7 guy, Sergey Derevyanchenko. While you're at it, check out the number 11 guy, Hugo Centeno Jr. The number 6 guy is 25-0 with 16 knockouts. He's kind of the enigma or the conundrum of this middleweight group. His name, Demetrius Andrade. All the talent in the world. Now you have to fight the fights. All of that stuff that went on with his double promotion team of Star Boxing and Banner Promotions has to pay off this year. If not, what's already seemed to be a waste of talent it's going to reach the danger zone if he doesn't get something big this year. You're getting into the oblivion zone, so we'll see what happens with him. When you look at Demetrius Andrade, the number 6 middleweight, the Vanes Martirosyan and the Willie Nelson fights were good, but the Martirosyan fight was 5 years ago, and Willie Nelson hasn't done anything but lose to Martirosyan and get his butt kicked by Tony Harrison until Harrison ran out of gas like he usually does. So 2018 should be a banner year, no pun intended, for Demetrius Andrade. We'll see. The number 5 guy, a fellow by the name of Billy Joe Saunders, who stands at 26-0, 12 knockouts. 4 of his last 6 wins were against decent competition, not world beaters. He beat Chris Eubank Jr. in 2017. He followed that up with a majority decision win over Andy Lee. And if that fight wasn't in the UK, well, His latest 2 wins were against Willie Monroe Jr. and David Lemieux. It's not a bad group. I think the biggest addition for him was trainer Dominic Ingle. Billy hadn't looked impressive, and although he looked superb against Lemieux, we'll see how he handles the test against the top guys. The number 4 guy, he's the new kid on the block. His name is Jermall Charlo. He's 26-0 with 20 knockouts. I don't think there's much doubt his power will be just as scary at 60 as it was 54. He has to handle his work with Centeno Jr. And then if Alvarez wins, I assume he'll want to unify with Saunders. That's where the WBC will step in. If Golovkin wins and the WBC doesn't let him unify, he'll try to negotiate with Jermall, or he'll move up if politics come into play. I don't see how Adonis Stevenson can get yet another pass by the WBC and they not allow G or Nello a pass so that they can unify with Saunders. I mean, either Yunier Alvarez must have knocked Stevenson out in sparring, or the man is just scared of him. I mean, Alvarez got so many payoffs by Stevenson that he probably became a millionaire in 2017 alone. So I'm hoping whoever wins between Golovkin and Alvarez, meaning Canelo, if you're going to give Stevenson the light heavyweight pass after pass after pass and allow him to still be the champion, I would think, unless somebody's in your pocket as speculated by many, that you would let Nello or G, whoever wins, you give them a pass and let them unify, try to become undisputed, then see what happens after that. Obviously the problem with politics is there's a golden boy versus premier Mexican standoff, if you will. And then we don't know how K2 figures into premier. I mean, Golovkin did fight Jacobs, so if he does win, I don't think he'll have a problem fighting Charlo as far as negotiations are concerned. But the concern is with the WBC. Will they allow Golovkin, if he wins, to go after Saunders, get the belt, and then find it? Or is it, oh, we're going to strip you because of this, because of that? Because if they do that, then you have to cry corruption. Because what if you let Adonis Stevenson do all of these years? By the way, did you know Adonis Stevenson's real name was Stevenson Adonis? Check it out. So Jermall Charlo is a wild card, but it'll be fun to see what he can do. Because unlike Golovkin, for example, Charlo's in his physical prime. He's a specimen too. So it'll be interesting. The number 3 guy has 33 wins, only 2 losses, and 29 big knockouts in those 33 wins. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Daniel Jacobs. Daniel Jacobs fought well versus Golovkin, and even though he blew up to not a super middleweight that night, not a light heavyweight that night, brought a cruiserweight, he survived. He then proceeded to go on a victory tour promoting the fact that he did better than anyone, probably including himself, thought he would against Gennady Golovkin. Alright, the tour is over, Danny. You got to make something else happen. So let's see what we get from you. Now, we mentioned numbers 2 and number 1 earlier. Saul Canelo Alvarez, Gennady, Triple G, Golovkin. You got all these guys getting brave and calling Golovkin out. And to be honest, it's okay. They caught him at the right time. He's most definitely slipped. And it's no telling how much he has left at 160 or how much he has left as a boxer. It's just too tough to tell. You have to see what happens in May, if they do it in May. But he's clearly not the same guy he was, let's say, 3 years ago. This will sound weird, but you know, the beauty of seeing Golovkin deteriorate a bit before our eyes, it's beautiful seeing it, because now you got guys getting Atlanta brave out there saying, I'll fight him, I can take him, he's not the killer everybody thinks he is. So, you know, like, where was this a few years ago? But the fact that he's deteriorating is, the beauty of it is, he's supposed to deteriorate at 30 years old. You know, no USADA tricks like some of your favorite fighters have used. No xylocaine, no IVs, no masking agents. He's a clean athlete, VADA tested numerous times, and he's exactly where he should be. There should be some fall off. Just like Marvelous Marvin Hagler began to slip when he was about, what, 33, 34. But Hagler's slippage was more related to not only being in a few wars, but mainly because by the time he fought guys like Leonard and Hearns and Mugabe, he already had like 65 fights. And these were 15-round fights, folks, he was in, not 12 rounds. So he had some mileage on him. He's supposed to slip at that age and with that much mileage. So whether you thought Hagler beat Leonard or not, had their fight been 15 rounds, Hagler wins that fight by stoppage. Leonard was fighting on fumes at the end of that one. And he admitted it himself. But that's why they asked for that's part of the reason why they wanted it to be 12. So when you look at Canelo Alvarez, he looked strong at 160 pounds. He should have been there years ago. And he was the bigger man on fight night. So I expect both guys to go to the body in the rematch, especially Canelo. How much trouble will Golovkin have cutting weight at his age? We'll see how he looks at the weigh-in. The rematch is going to happen in May, right? Right? The rest of this list in the middleweight division has guys who can push you or beat you on any night if they're on and you're not. You got David Lemieux, Andy Lee, Willie Monroe Jr., Louis Arias, Gabriel Rosado, Gary O'Sullivan, Curtis Stevens, the overrated Jason Quigley, the guy Sulecki, who floats between super welterweight or junior middleweight and middleweight. You got Ryota Murata. And I'd like to see one of these guys in the top 7 test themselves with a Martin Murray, who lost to Golovkin, but arguably beat Sergio Martinez in his home country. So the only other losses Murray had is when he moved up to 168 pounds. He lost a split decision to Arthur Abraham, and he lost to George Groves at 68. I sure like to see him go against the top 10 guy. I think that's a test. And any of the aforementioned names outside of the top 7, I think, are good tests for some of the guys. So keep your eye on the middleweight division. The schedule between January and March. Next Saturday on Showtime, we got Errol, Spence Jr. versus Lamont, Peterson. And there's some good names on that card. I mean, from top to bottom. Not necessarily the best fights, but if you want to go to a fight card to see some names, this is the card. This is a card you can go to. This is the card you can go to. You got Robert Easter Jr. versus Javier Fortuna. You got Marcus Brown, Adam Konaski, Anthony Peterson, Sergey Deverenchenko, as we mentioned earlier. You got Richardson Hitchens, my man Dylan, the real deal Price. You got some names. You got some names outside of the top 3 or 4 fights on there. They're just names fighting guys that they should beat, but that's a pretty good card as far as name recognition. The Saturday after that, you got Lucas Matthysse and Jorge Linares in separate fights. They're different weight classes, by the way. So that's January 27th, HBO. So January 20th, Showtime. January 27th, HBO. Also on January 27th, you got Oleksandr Usyk versus Marius Breidis. The Cruiserweight Final Four. And this is half of that. Saturday, January 27th. Must see. If I'm home, I'll try to find a way. The only drawback to that World Boxing Super Series has been television. So I'll try to stream it, and if I do, I'll either do a video that Saturday, or this video, or the next one I do in between that one. I'll leave a link so that you can follow the stream. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, they dropped the ball on the television. 1 week later, Saturday, February 3rd, the second half of the Final Four. My most anticipated fight of the year. I hope it won't disappoint, but it's a guaranteed knockout. Murat Gassiev, undefeated. Yunier Dorticos, undefeated. Somebody's always got to go, and somebody's going to get knocked out. Gotta see that. Once again, they dropped the ball on TV, so you're going to have to find a stream. Also, Saturday, February 3rd on ESPN, you got Gilberto Ramirez versus Habib Ahmed. Thursday, February 8th, the return of Roy Jones Jr. He'll be fighting in Pensacola, Florida. No opponent's name. So, you know how that is. Week later on Showtime, February 10th, we got Mikey Garcia, Sergey Lipinets. And, so, most people make Garcia a big favorite over Lipinets. I think Lipinets is going to come to fight. Just don't think he has enough for Garcia. But that's why they fight the fights, folks. So, we'll see. That card is on Showtime. And let me see. On that card, that's from that fight's going to take place in Texas, San Antonio. You got Francis Bartholomew fighting Kiro Relik for the vacant WBA World Super Lightweight title, or Junior Welterweight. Richard Kami is on that card versus Alejandro Luna. That should be good. Ray Robinson's on the card. The new Ray Robinson versus Yordenis Ugas. That should be good also. You got Brandon Figueroa, Adam Lopez. That might be good also. Mario Barrios and Andre Klimov. Good test for Barrios. Josecito Lopez is on that card. So once again, maybe I think some of those fights will be good, but name recognition. So if you're in San Antonio, not San Diego, Keith Thurman, but San Antonio, then for those of you who follow the sport closely, you know what I mean. Want to get away? We'll see. We'll see. I'm not sure how many. Maybe they'll kind of do that Showtime Extreme and show some of those fights. Also on February 10th, Box Nation, BT Sports. Zolani Tete versus Omar Narvaez. Tete, he's looking for a showdown with the monster, Inoue. So, going to have to win to get that. Friday, February 16th, ESPN, Raimundo Beltran versus Paulos Moses. Saturday, February 17th, IVT pay-per-view. Got to find a way to stream that one. George Groves versus Chris Eubank Jr. It's going to be a good one. Also, Saturday, February 17th, on Fox, not Fox Sports 1, but regular Fox, the return of the Clown Prince of Boxing, Vicious Victor Ortiz, takes on Devin Alexander. Saturday, February 17th on Fox. Thursday, February 22nd, ESPN2, Jojo Diaz, Victor Terrazas, or Taraja. I wonder. I'll see how they pronounce that. In a matchup. Saturday, February 24th, HBO, Sarasikitsor Rungvisai versus Juan Francisco Estrada. The Superfly 2 card from California. Should be fantastic. I expect Rungvisai to take an early lead and Estrada to come on, and we'll see how it ends. But that should be a good mesh of styles there. And also on Saturday, February 24th, Callum Smith versus Jurgen Bremer, and that's also part of the World Boxing Super Series, but that's in the super middleweight class. So, and then you get the month of March, which features the return of Kell Brook, also Sergey Kovalev. You have Deontay Wilder versus Louis Ortiz, Dimitri Bivol versus Sully Barrera, Dillian White versus Lucas Brown, and Anthony Joshua versus Joseph Parker. So make sure you check those fights. I'll leave a list at the bottom of the of this video, and make sure you keep an eye out for the middleweight division. I think it's going to be exciting over the next couple of years. We catch you on the next one.